Want to know what it's like to own an iPhone 6s or 6s Plus? Well, let's take a look. Both phones sport an almost identical design to last year's model. However, this time around, they're made with a tougher aluminum, which makes them ever slightly thicker and heavier to protect from possible bending when in your pocket. And we have our good friend Lou, the last phone bender, to thank for it. But the only other differences you'll find with this year's S model is of course the S on the back and the addition of the new rose gold color. But now that we have a better idea of what it looks like, let's talk about how it actually feels to use these two. The size you pick is definitely up to you, but there are of course different benefits between the two. In the hands, it's a pretty standard experience on both devices. However, handling the 6s Plus may take some getting used to if you aren't used to using big phones yet. And because of the curved design and the size of the 6s Plus, it may be a bit slippery in the hand. And trust me, you don't want to drop a large phone like this. A pretty sweet solution is using a skin like the one I have here from Slick Wraps. And as you can see, I'm sporting the dope new Imperial Trooper skin, which is a great option if you want to avoid adding the bulk of a case and change the texture to something a lot less slippery while still sporting some awesome looks. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this skin in particular has really made me a believer in phone skins. I'll of course have links down below if you guys want to check them out. But using the 6s feels very natural for all normal things like texting, talking on the phone, and pretty much anything else because it's right in the sweet spot for phone sizes. The 6s Plus is definitely much larger though, and requires a bit more time to get used to the overall feel of it. Something as simple as putting the phones away in your pocket has slight differences. With the 6s, you can throw it in just fine, but with the 6s Plus, it's a bit more noticeable, but honestly, it won't be much of an issue unless you're wearing tight pants. The two biggest advantages to owning the 6s Plus versus the normal 6s is of course the bigger 1080p display. It's great for media consumption, and while the 6s doesn't look bad, it's still nicer to have a big screen when watching your favorite videos or even playing games. The other advantage is having a bigger battery with the 6s Plus. I'd expect to charge the iPhone 6s towards the end of a workday, but I found that I only need to charge the 6s Plus before bed, and I'd call myself a pretty heavy user. Now you might be wondering what's new with these phones and is it worth upgrading to? The first change you'll find in this year's models is the A9 processor, which is the same in both phones, and this is a spec bump that allows the phone to be snappier and handle more intensive applications. The new iPhones are really fast, but you probably won't tell a difference unless you're comparing it side by side to an older model. As expected, the new iPhones are smooth performers, allowing for quick and fluid use of iOS, and you'll have no issues jumping between apps and making the most of what iOS has to offer. You'll be able to go about your daily activities with virtually no lag. It also seems like we have a much faster Touch ID sensor, which sounds great, but man has this thing been annoying to me. Don't get me wrong, I love Touch ID, but if you have a ton of notifications waiting for you and you like to check them on your lock screen, if you wake your phone with your thumb, it'll register it so quickly that you'll miss the notifications and you'll have to go into the notification dropdown in order to see them. It's not a big deal since you can wake the phone with the power button, but if you're used to using your thumb like me, it can get pretty frustrating. Apple has also upgraded the camera on both phones to a 12 megapixel shooter, which performs excellently. While the megapixel number may not be as high as some of the other phones out today, it still produces amazing images and definitely ranks in my top 3 smartphone cameras today. Also with the new camera is 4K video. Videos are definitely super crispy in 4K, and with the iPhone 6s Plus, you get optical image stabilization, which will help you get smooth video even while in motion. Something to keep in mind though is that if you have the 16GB model, you're probably going to run out of space really quickly recording in 4K. Don't buy the 16GB model. And for the selfie takers out there, Apple has introduced the Retina Flash. This turns your screen into a giant flash, and it's similar to what we've seen on MacBooks and iMacs, and I gotta say, it works pretty well. Another cool new feature with the cameras is the addition of live photos. With this, you get to capture a few moments after the original picture was taken, and it can be pretty cool to see a bit more than you thought to capture in your shot. Now, the biggest change you'll come across with the new phones is 3D touch. With this, you can press the screen with a bit of pressure, and it'll cause different things to happen depending on the app you're in. Now keep in mind, this requires actual pressure on the screen, and it's not just a long press. This will give you quick access to certain features within apps right from your home screen, and to compare it with something we're all familiar with, you can pretty much think of it as a right click. It of course has different functions in different apps, and a few examples are being able to preview emails, or text messages without actually having to open them, viewing any live photos you've taken, or even previewing a picture or someone's account on Instagram. Now, this might be one of those features you completely forget about and never use, but I thought that would be the case with the reachability feature, and now I wish every big phone I used had it. These are indeed the best iPhones to date, but if you're coming from the iPhone 6 or 6 Plus, I'd probably wait till the iPhone 7 comes out if you're looking to pick up a new one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be the cool guy that gives it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you in the next one. Till then, it's your average consumer. Peace.